prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, recants a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common Man, Common Man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh boy! Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Time is running out on Dan Cole's round. Let's go to 15. Bob?
Yeah, John Cole has been visibly angry. He's been talking to himself quite a bit. And it doesn't get any easier here on the par 3 15th hole at Minnesota National. This hole is guarded by two bunkers with a big tree in front of the green. Very challenging tee shot. He's opted to hit a 5-iron here. Cole, unreal pants, fluttering in the wind, mumbling to himself, I've got to have this shot. Hooty-hoo! Ooh, that's very well struck. Spinning through the air like a J.J. McCarthy pass. It's right on line. Looking good. Oh, my! It's in! I can't believe what I just saw. A hole-in-one for Cole at the 15th, and he's pointing at patrons in the gallery shouting, you doubted me, you doubted me, you doubted me, and now he's embracing his son, Peter. What a moment between father and son here at the 15th at Minnesota National.
You always love that one. Who's that can be tempted? We that can be tempted. Just that.
Who that? Who there?
San Diego, Superchargers, San Diego, Superchargers, San Diego, Superchargers, San Diego, Superchargers. Now what do you think? What do you think of that? What do you think of the Lions now? Oh, what was that out there with the
Oh, fraud.
Yes.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Rhetorical question to start the show. Why do we have all these chairs in here? We have more chairs in here than we've ever had in here. We look like, if you walked into this place, you'd think we were a Padani satellite store, for crying out loud. There's... And I know the Power Trip Morning Show has...
defense joke.
Oh, no, I could have. I can get to that. If you, I know the Power Trip Morning Show has a lot of guests, but this is crazy. It's hard to even walk through this place. And I found the one that I like. I guess everybody likes a different kind of chair. Is this the one I like? Yeah, this is the one I like. It's the one I like. And so I'm in this one. So Emily, she's our operations manager. And she bribes me with candy. If I behave or I do this or I do that, she gives me candy. I'm like a little dog with treats. She's got those Hershey nuggets, you know, the milk chocolate ones. Then there's the milk chocolate and almonds. And then there's the milk chocolate with toffee, which are my favorites. But today was the day we needed to have Geneva to get inside. No. Genoa. No, the Genoa is Genoa a salami? I think it's an Italian salami. Did you know the Genoa salami is better in Italy? Just like the tomato doctor, just like the flour is. Everything in Italy is better when it comes to pizza. So you downloaded. I really believe I'm the only person, iHeart Minneapolis, that has a Samsung phone. Is Samsung, are they even in business anymore? Nobody I know except my wife and I have Samsung phones. Everybody has an Apple phone. And, you know, it's to each his own, right? But so it took a while. Emily thought it was going to be easy. And it ain't easy being easy, but we eventually did find a way to download Genoa because now we've decided, and then she has it on her screen there because it was almost like she was anticipating my pushback. Because on the top of the head, one of those, one of those sayings like, what's the one I'm looking for? I had one. Less is more. Remember when we did that one? Less is more. You have those, the and this is, if you change nothing, nothing changes.
Brilliant.
And I say, and then she pointed at that because she could see that I was.
You're like the spokesperson for that motto.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't mind change, but only if it really is needed. Like, the card key system worked wonderfully. I never had anybody, nobody that I know here at the radio station ever had a problem with it. It worked just fine. You have a little card key, you keep it with you, and you go in, and it opens the door, and it worked beautifully. But now all of a sudden we've decided, and this is corporate America, I think. People have to justify their jobs and their existence. So they change. Here's my old saying: don't change things just for change's sake. Because that's what this was all about. There was no reason to have to. We now are, our phone is our master. We are slaves to our phone for everything now. If I were to forget to charge my battery, or I left my
lose it.
Heaven forbid. Well, aren't you afraid you'll lose it? That's another inside joke. That's an awful small phone. Aren't you afraid you'll lose it? I've never told you that one. That's a good off-air one. So let's say I left my phone. Well, then I can't get into the building. It's everything is about.
And at that point, you wouldn't be able to call anyone to get in the building either.
See, there you go. So then what do I do there? Then all of a sudden, Tennessee said, where's Common? And I told Emily, I said, if this doesn't work, I'm just going to, because I don't think it's going to work for me, because things don't work for me. I'm going to have to just wait for somebody. Your dog waits for somebody to come home to let him out and give him a dish of water. Say, I'm going to have to be like a little dog out there waiting for candy and then waiting for someone to come by and go, what are you doing standing outside the radio station, Common? I don't have a card key anymore. I've got Geneva this, Genoa that, and I couldn't download it, but it actually did work. It's so silly, though. Do you really have to do this? Because in the directions it said you hold your phone up and you turn it like a doorknob. Did you do the doorknob turn?
I don't have to do that one.
Oh.
There's multiple options.
What's the doorknob thing?
Earlier today, I had to put my phone up to it. Today, the second time I went through, it just opened the second I approached it.
Yeah. Well, she said that it'll get to know me after a while. What do you mean? I don't want to get that close to my Genoa. I've got a wife and kids. I don't need to get any closer. Now what's Zach doing? Are you taking the TV?
It's my laptop.
Oh, his laptop is plugged into the TV. I got a laptop now too, Timothy. Company issued after 67 years on planet Earth, and I've been here since 1993. Did they have laptop computers in 1993? When did the laptop become in vogue? Because I have one now, and I don't know why, because I don't use it, but I have one. And the best part was, so my wife has a laptop, and she has one of those carrying cases, so I took it the other day, and I came into the office, and I had it over my shoulder. But then I had it, prominently placed in front of me and kind of rested my arm on it in front of that. And I said, so how's it going today? Because I wanted to show I got a laptop. I've arrived. I'm like everybody else here at the radio station. You've got a company-issued laptop, don't you?
You know how...
Do you have one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the government, the last couple of years, they created Doge to get rid of waste and make it more efficient.
Yes.
We might need to do that with iHeartMedia, because giving you a laptop is just a waste of resources.
Well, and then, here's what Abbott said. He goes, I think I said this on the air yesterday. He said, don't become too attached to it, because you have to give it back when we let you go. So it's not mine forever. It's not like, why they gave me this, it's like a let's make a deal, and they all of a sudden they pull back the curtain. They go, a new car. And you go, whoa, I get a new car. But they don't tell you on that. Is this true on like, let's make a deal when you win a car? They go, well, you got to pay tax, title, license, shipping, handling, and gratuity. So, many of the people that are on the game show really, and
that $100 million is actually $60 million.
Well, that's exactly it. And so it's like, well, I don't have $3,600 to pay for all the things. So why don't you just keep the car? So, but I got a Genoa card key now, and I guess I'm all right with it. You know, it's not the end of the world, but everything I have is on my phone. Everything. And I guess that's neither here nor there. But what is people waiting for a Wheel of Topic. Sorry, not today. I was scheduled to play with Rube Golf, but when I saw the weather the way it was, I said I'm willing to play. Game is played outdoors, but would you guys want to play in steady rain, or would you rather wait for a bright, sunshiny day? And they said the jury. He texted back. He said the jury has reached a verdict. We'd rather play on a bright, sunshiny day with the Common Man. So this also allowed me to start getting ready for my trip to San Francisco. And, I'm going to find a flower shop, and I'm going to wear flowers in my hair. You know the song, right, by Scott McKenzie? It was an old hippie song from 1969 or 70. It was if you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. So I guess I'm going to wear flowers in my hair because I've never been to San Francisco, and I feel like that's the appropriate thing to do on your first trip to San Francisco is harken back to 1969. I think McKenzie played. Did he play Woodstock? I think he may have played Woodstock, but I don't know that for a fact. But we could ask
Brian
Oak because he is the he's one half of Rock. Well, 1/3 because Tennessee, you're a part of Rock Talk as well. And Rock Rank. Is it a good Rock Rank today?
It's mediocre.
Oh. So, that fits in with the show.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, because the show is just basically mediocre. We're the best of the lousiest and the lousiest.
Do you have any set plans for San Francisco yet?
Going to Alcatraz, do 5
Are
to
you
10.
already doing Alcatraz?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody I go, so we're going to San Francisco. And they all say, you got to go to Alcatraz.
You do.
You got to go to Alcatraz. You got to go to So I'm going to go to Alcatraz.
That's my favorite part.
I'm going to go to the Muir Woods. And I'm going to go to...
You're going to go to Golden Gate Bridge?
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. And then I'm going to go to Sausalito. Sausalito, summer night, Sausalito, summer...
What about Fisherman's Wharf?
Yeah, we'll do Fisherman's Wharf. I don't know if they have a song for Fisherman's Wharf, but I know as we're driving into Sausalito, I'm going to crank on Diesel's Sausalito
on
Summer
repeat,
Night.
Probably.
Yeah, and I'll play that, and then I'll pull the car to the side of the road, and I'll weep, is what I'll do. Let's take a break. We'll come back.
You'll try to figure out how to get the music through your phone into your rental car, but then the Android will throw it all off.
No, my wife will be able to do that.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. That is one of the great things about a lot of great things about cell phones, but one of them is the hands free is the greatest thing that ever happened, and you can listen to music on your iHeartRadio app, and you can do it right through your car stereo. So it's pretty cool. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Peek at the Purple. A lot of other. Tennessee, if I were to ask you, what would you consider list radio to be?
Lazy radio.
And we're going to be as lazy as it gets, but there's a couple of really fun ones. It's hip now, it's with it and wow, and it's kind of cool to think about. So we'll do all of that and so much more. Rock Talk at 1:15 with Brian Oak, and then the legendary one, Mark Rose, and his second to the last day before his niece. Have you heard what Louie Nanny said to him?
Oh, it was genius. I was there when he said it.
Oh, you were there? So then you can recant the tale because you were there. So let's do that on the other side of the break and peek at the Purple as well on the Coming Up program on the Fan.
KFAN welcomes some great shows to Mystic Lake Amphitheater. The legendary Bob Dylan.
Say, if you want to be. Do you even know that song? That's a Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney song. It was really, really bad.
I miss the Dylan duets, though.
Yeah. Well, we could always do one. I mean, you just have to drop it out.
Yeah.
Because I also wanted to do... I was just thinking about there was another song I'd like to do. But anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, so Bob Dylan will be there July 6th. Motley Crue.
Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain, telling me my...
On August 21st, and Santana.
She don't lie, she don't lie, she don't lie. Cocaine, do.
And the Doobie Brothers.
I like the nightlife, baby. Ba 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 ba. She said, do 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 do. I like the nightlife, baby. Ba 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 ba.
On August 27th, get the complete details on all of our upcoming shows on the concert page at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Peek at the Purple brought to you by our pals at Affordable Electric. If you're planning a summer remodel, and who isn't, whether it's maybe you're thinking about a kitchen update, a bathroom renovation, maybe need to finish that basement, maybe a garage build, or full home edition, Affordable Electric handles the wiring, lighting, panel upgrades, and inspections to keep your project safe and, more importantly, up to code. Or just as important, because you want the project to be safe. That's as important as being up to code. Before the drywall goes up, make sure the electrical is done right. 612-331-VOLT. 612-331-VOLT, or if you'd like, you can reach them online at affordable-electric.com, affordable-electric.com, and they are shockingly affordable. So we're going to combine Lazy Radio and Peek at the Purple Tennessee. It's a CBS Sport. They're the kings of Lazy Radio. I love this headline. How good or bad can it get? The best and worst case scenarios for every NFL team in 2026.
I feel like we could have a wide range on that one.
Oh, boy, we sure could. But here's what they've decided with Minnesota. They've narrowed it down to this. One kiss. Now it's down to this. Do you know what song that's from?
Try it again.
One kiss. Now it's down to this.
Your kiss is on my list?
No, Boz Scaggs in a song called Miss Sun. It's another one I'd like to play. We're having a very lively music discussion with Chris Carr, the Chris Carr in the Morning Show. Mornings with Chris Carr. Country, funny mornings. And Greg Swedberg. We were talking about Boss Skaggs. Minnesota Vikings, here's the best case scenario, Tennessee. The pressure of the quarterback battle produces a diamond. Either Kyle Murphy, or is Sam Darnold 2.0, giving the Vikings a veteran capable of competing for an NFC North title, or J.J. McCarthy stabilizes and rises to the occasion to fend off Murray. Either way, the quarterback question is definitively answered, and Minnesota suddenly is back where it was in 2024, battling for the division crown and the number one seed. Here's your worst case scenario. Kyler Murray wins the job after an uninspiring camp, and his injury issues, he's missed 30 of a possible 68 games over the past 5 seasons, persist. That throws McCarthy into the lineup cold, and the results look similar to the abysmal one of 2025. Minnesota continues to be held back by poor quarterback play and finishes dead last in the NFC North. Tennessee, you're master control supervisor. You're an extended family member. You've watched the Vikings for decades. Which of those scenarios do you think is more likely?
Well, I mean, they can't get worse quarterback play than last year, can they?
I don't think.
Even if you got down to third string Carson Wentz, as long as he could stay healthy. Like a healthy Carson Wentz would give you better quarterback play than you got the entire season last year.
I guess you're right.
So, I mean, someone's got to perform, right?
You know who it might be, Tennessee? Might be Max Brosmer. Green Bay Packers, best case scenario. After beginning the year on the PUP list, Micah Parsons returns to the Packers in mid-October, and the defense doesn't look back. The star pass rusher is fresh, healthy, tanned, rested, ready, as Green Bay fielding arguably the top unit in the league. When paired with an offense that has Jordan Love playing at a high level thanks to the emergence of second-year wideout Matthew Golden and Christian Watson establishing himself as a true number one option after inking a lucrative extension this offseason, the Packers win the NFC North for the first time since 2021 and reach the NFC Championship game for the first time since 2020. To me, that's worst case scenario as a fan of the Vikings and the Lions.
I feel like the Packers have a higher floor than the Purple in terms of like I don't see a 4 or 5 win season in their future.
Right.
But the difference between them winning the division and maybe just being kind of mediocre and not even make playoffs, I think it is Micah Parsons. He's not going to be ready to start the season. So they could have a 14-3, 13-4 type team if he's playing all season long.
Worst case scenario, Parsons returns to the field but isn't the same player he was before tearing his ACL. lowering the defense's ceiling. Meanwhile, the offense continues to deal with durability issues from Watson, limiting its explosiveness. Their division rivals all find success dropping Green Bay to dead last place in the NFC North for the first time since 2005. Delicious would that be? We'll see.
The Packers have been very mediocre at the wide receiver position, but at least they were deep with their mediocrity. But they've since jettisoned Dontavian Wicks. He's now in Philadelphia. Romeo Doubs is gone. So now they have, they still have a couple okay players, but now when you do get an injury to Christian Watson, which is inevitable because it happens every year, that depth is going to fall off quickly for them.
Motor City Kitties, best case. After a down year in 2025, the Lions get right back into the thick of the big game conversation. The secondary returns healthy after an injury-riddled campaign, while the offense hums with Jahmyr Gibbs playing at an offensive player of the year level, much like the Vikings rookie running back is going to do. Detroit reclaims the NFC North, winning the division for the third time in 4 seasons. Worst case, the arrow continues to point in the wrong direction in the Motor City. Jared Goff starts to look like a quarterback entering the latter stage of his career, and the hiring of offensive coordinator Drew Petzing doesn't result in any substantial improvements. The defense again ranks in the bottom half of the league in key categories, and the Lions missed the playoffs for the second straight year, begging the question of whether their window has closed entirely. Being a Motor City Kitty fan for all those years, I think worst case scenario is probably the most likely. I do think their window may have closed. I guess it's possible that, if they do rebuild their offensive line, if moving Sewell over to left tackle, and they drafted a rookie that they think is pretty good, he's highly regarded. They signed a center, not the guy from the Ravens, the number 1 center. They signed like the second best guy. Maybe that will help. Maybe they can do something. But I'm
not convinced their window's closed. But to your point, I think offensive line will be the biggest factor in whether they return or not, because that was one of their biggest strengths during that run.
Yes. But
all of their star players, their core players, are all in their primes. It's not like some are starting to fade. Aiden Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, they're all, even Laporta is a tight end. Like all their good quality players are in the right window to compete.
Chicago Bears, best case, after going 11-6 and winning the NFC North last season, Chicago builds on that success in year 2 of the Ben Johnson era. Caleb Williams emerges as a legitimate MVP candidate, wins double-digit games, and once again leads the Bears to consecutive division titles for the first time since 05-06. Worst case, the breakout 2025 campaign proves to be more flash than substance, with Chicago falling behind the Lions and Packers in the NFC North race. That results in the Bears missing the playoffs for the 5th time in 6 seasons. But it just says, just that the other teams rise up. I do think going into the season right now, Tennessee, and I don't think I'm going out on a limb, and maybe diehard Packer fans, Viking fans will disagree. I at this, as we sit, and I don't think this is like some bold and brash prediction. I think the Bears are the favorite in the NFC North. I love the Williams kid. Who doesn't? He's, his first year, and that was under what's-his-face. Who was their head coach back then?
I forget who it was, previous to Ben Johnson.
Yeah, but now it's going to bug me until I remember his name. We'll find it. Eberflus, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Eberflus? And it just didn't work. And then last year, and I know it's, there's a lot of,
Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, there's a lot of mitigating circumstances, but I thought he played really, really well last year, and I think he's going to do nothing but get better. So I think they're favorite. But, I think if the Vikings get quarterback play out of Murray or, maybe McCarthy and Green Bay, the best case scenario we just read on that CBS lazy radio sports list, and with the Lions, it could be again. Going into last year, I thought it was going to be a really interesting season in the North. I still think it's going to be that way this year. Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric, where all of your electrical needs. It's affordable-electric.com. More controversial Vikings news other side of the break on the Common Man program on the Fan.
Marty Gellner and...
Want to be at the next big game or concert?
Absolutely.
We're giving away tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival, Jack White, Guns N' Roses, Chris Stapleton, and plenty more. Enter today at KFAN.com, keyword contest.
There was a soap opera back in the days. It might still exist. As the world turns, maybe we should start a new segment. As the sports world turns, the curious case of
probably didn't have as good of a theme song though as Young and the Rest.
No, probably not. The curious case of Brendan Sorsby has taken another turn. Texas Tech essentially reversed course by mutually agreeing to part ways with the quarterback, who subsequently declared for the NFL's supplemental draft. Now, if you remember, if you've been following the story, Texas Tech and billionaire booster Cody Campbell initially supported Sorsby, even helping him secure a temporary injunction that allowed him to play. He had been ruled permanently ineligible by the NCAA after it discovered he wagered on college and pro sports, including home games involving his own team. At the time, it was Indiana. The judge's injunction sparked massive backlash across college football. The Big 12 filed a lawsuit against Texas Tech, and other athletic programs, including Georgia and Nebraska, threatened to boycott the school. Now, when they were faced with the threat of severe conference sanctions, Texas Tech and Sorsby's folks realized there was no practical way to resolve all the pending legal disputes in time for the NFL supplemental draft deadline. Consequently, they abandoned their fight for collegiate eligibility. Texas Tech will not attempt to recoup the roughly $1 million in nil money already paid to Sorsby, but he will not play for the Red Raiders. Now, the whole supplemental draft thing, Tenneby, is interesting because I guess I'd forgotten there was even such a thing as a supplemental draft, and I did a little bit of research. And are you familiar with the supplemental draft and how it works? If there are players that, like, for whatever reasons, they were academically ineligible or they were having some off-fielder issues or whatever, weren't eligible for the regular draft, and now, in Sorsby's case, suspended. Now he wants to, forego his senior season because he doesn't want to fight the courts. He's going to enter the supplemental draft. He says, I'm grateful for the support from my family, my Tech coaching staff, teammates, the community, and so many others who have encouraged me to address and learn more about this important issue. As my journey continues, I remain fully committed to and focused on being the best I can be both on and off the field. He went through some gambleaholics treatment thing, I think. I don't know how that went. I don't know where he did it, who he was with. I would just say don't gamble on sports, but it's not as easy as that, right? It's an addiction for some people. So when you supplemental NFL draft, when you IHOP it, it says the NFL supplemental draft is a special summer event for college players whose eligibility has changed since the April NFL draft. In 2026, quarterback Brendan Sorsby is the headline prospect after a high-profile gambling scandal. From what I was able to read, Tenneby, I didn't know much about. To be honest with you, I didn't know anything about the Sorsby kid until all this news about the gambling and injunction and going to play and all that came about. But apparently, he's considered a very good player. And had he been eligible for the draft this year or the following year, he would have been highly regarded. And I guess teams put in a bid is what they do. So let's say you're the Minnesota Vikings. As if you don't have enough quarterbacks already. Four's company, 5 would be a crowd. They could say, we would like to put in a bid for Sorsby. If they were awarded the supplemental pick, they would have to give up. How does that work?
I think you have to put in a bid for basically next year's draft pick, right?
That's correct.
If you just say, hey, we're putting a bid of a 4th rounder. If you were to be the only team that, if the 4th round was the highest bid anyone put in, then you would get that player, but then would not have your 4th round pick.
That's exactly how it works. I have to think he's probably going to go a fourth won't cut it, right? There's somebody out there that will probably go a first-round draft pick, right? Or do you think it's...
I don't know about that.
You don't think so, huh?
Well, given all the off-the-field stuff, I don't know, I guess we'll find out, but...
I think when it comes to off-field stuff, a lot of teams overlook that. I mean, look what we had with our guy, Addison. Speeding, his dog's sick, throwing up in the back seat of the car, gets a ticket, then he fall asleep behind the wheel or something. I mean, it's like a lot of these players get in a lot of trouble, but if they can win football games for you, I think a lot of teams, and again, I think a lot of it, the off the field is like, well, gambling. All right, he had an issue with it. It's considered a addiction. And if he had treatment for it, doesn't want to, guys are allowed a second chance. I think there will be plenty of teams that will pony up a first-round draft pick to take a shot at. Because if you were going to draft a quarterback, a so-called franchise quarterback, look at it in the McCarthy. 5 guys went in the first 10 picks. If you want a franchise quarterback, if there is a guy that appears to have the abilities to be a first-round, to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, I think teams are more than willing to take that chance. But you could be right. It might scare off some teams. But I think there are a lot of teams.
I guess, would you risk the potential of getting a generational quarterback in next year's draft to get this guy now who has off-field problems? I just don't know. I'd be surprised if you get a first-rounder. Maybe a second. Maybe someone will throw a second on him.
Lazy Radio continues. Here are 8 NFL teams who may have interest in Sorsby. Pittsburgh was excluded because the team used a third-round pick on Penn State quarterback Drew Aller, or is it Allar, this year, and despite potentially needing a franchise quarterback beyond the season, rocking Aaron Rodgers and Drew's boat does not sound like a decision the franchise would historically make. It lists Arizona, Carolina, Cleveland, the Kitties, the Colts, the Dolphins, the Jets, and Tampa Bay. No mention of the Vikings of being a possibility. This is all guesswork, of course, too. It's not as though the report of the story, I don't think, went in and called each team. But with Detroit, it says Goff turns 32 years old during the upcoming season, and his primary backups are Teddy Bridgewater and undrafted free agent Luke Altmaier. The team had previously used a third-round pick on Hendon Hooker in 23, but Hooker had never been a threat to Goff's claim as the starting quarterback and is now on his 4th team. Sorsby could be Goff, but 3 years later on the timeline, the Lions are likely to be too competitive to find themselves within striking distance of a top quarterback in the 2027 NFL draft, so this represents an opportunity to address the position at a value rate. And it does make sense. That to me is the perfect storm. And there probably other teams are in that same boat where you have an aging quarterback that, we can make one or two, we can make another run here. The Lions, I'm assuming they're thinking their window is still wide open, right? Okay. We got the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals or the head coach, the Penzing guy? He's got a Cardinals connection. He's considered a relatively bright guy. I don't know why, but that's what they say. So they have him in there. He's going to call the plays now. And let's say the line works, and they have a good season in the next couple of years, but then all of a sudden they fade off. Well, then you have your quarterback of the future because Goff at 32. And I like Goff, but you and I have talked about this. I think you got to have a really good offensive line around him, and things got to go real well for him because he's kind of a giraffe back there. Mm-hmm. He's not great at moving around. And when he has time, like most NFL quarterbacks, he can carve up a defense. And he got the club to an NFC championship game, right? And then, got him to a 15-2 record the following year. So I could see, I would be, and I'm just going on the reviews of Sorsby because, again, I've seen a highlight package now just because he's been in the news. If I needed a quarterback, I would go ahead and I would make a bid. Would I go number 1 pick? If I really wanted him, I would, because then you just go, yeah, we're going to give our number 1 pick. Particularly, let's say you're a team that's you're a good team. You're a mediocre team, right? Well, then you're a good team. You're a good team, let's say, and you're expected to make the playoffs, but you have an aging quarterback. Your first round pick might be 25, 24, 26, right? And then it's that grooming process like they did when they selected Aaron Rodgers, when they selected Jordan Love. That's why I wouldn't completely count out Pittsburgh if this Sorsby kid is supposed to be better than the Penn State kid. And I can't worry about, I'm sorry, I don't worry about what Aaron Rodgers thinks about anything. I just don't let that dictate you've heard me say the GM's a caretaker of the team, and it's like, oh, we're going to hurt Aaron's, we're going to hurt Kirk Cousins' feelings. I can't worry about feelings, as Lil B would say. I got to draft the player. So it'll be interesting. He's going to get drafted by somebody. What they have to give up for him, I don't know. But if I was a team in need of a quarterback, I'd seriously consider it.
Well, the one problem he has, too, is the timing of it, right? The supplemental draft is going to be done later in the summer. Teams have their quarterback rooms full.
Yeah, they do.
Right now, that doesn't mean they can't get rid of someone from their room and then replace them. But this isn't happening in March when you have an open quarterback room and go, oh yeah, we can fit that guy in. Like even if the Vikings, right? People have thrown out the Vikings as someone who should be interested. If the Vikings were to put in a claim on him and get him, well, then somebody's getting traded. They're not keeping 4 quarterbacks on the roster. So if the Vikings were to get him, then I think J.J. McCarthy's gone. You're now trying to find a suitor for J.J. McCarthy somewhere else. Or I guess you could cut Carson Wentz, but then you've got 2 young, unproven guys filling out your quarterback room. So there's just, most of these teams by the time you get to August, they've already completed their quarterback room, right. And there's not a lot of openings.
If you are the Vikings or any team, and I'll go back to what I said about when the Packers drafted Jordan Love. That general manager / coach, LaFleur, probably had a lot to say. I don't know how much influence he had. If you believe you have a franchise quarterback, then you go ahead and get him. If Kevin O'Connell, and I don't know, maybe he goes, this is the kind of quarterback I want. This is the guy I would love to have on my team. He's better than, he's got a higher ceiling than I even thought McCarthy had, Murray had. Then you make that move and you just say, guess I got to trade somebody, guess I got to release somebody. I mean, even if you released Murray, it's only going to cost you $1.5 million, right? Is that how that would work? Because that's all they.
Yeah, it'd be very little. Yeah.
So, and that's probably not the guy you'd want to release, but you could. So, but you would have to be really high on this kid and think he's got a chance to be your franchise quarterback. Now, shifting gears.
But even if you thought he was your franchise quarterback, do you think he's your franchise quarterback right now? Right? You have to be in a situation where you could have someone else, I'm guessing, playing as your starter this year.
Yeah. Well, they play these guys pretty quickly now. They it seems like most first-round draft picks, pretty much, the Jordan Love sitting for 3 years, isn't that sort of a anomaly? Is that the right word? I mean, that doesn't happen very often. Now it's like you draft a guy in the first top 10, 15 picks, and what I'm reading is Sorsby would be one of those guys. He would be a guy that would go in the first.
But I'm just wondering how highly regarded he is, because if he was so highly regarded, wouldn't he have just gone to the draft in the first place? Like, he's played 4 years. It's not like he was ineligible.
Right.
And he still wanted to play a 5th year at Texas Tech.
Yeah. Maybe he's not as...
I think he's highly regarded, but he's not thought of as slam dunk elite quarterback, generational quarterback, which is why I don't think anyone's going to put a first round tag on him, because you're going to, if you're a team that falls in the top 10, that's going to be a potential massive downgrade from what you could get in the top 10 next year.
That makes sense. So, but again, we'll find out because there'll be a supplemental draft. They don't have them every year either.
No.
Dateline Denver. New Nashville front office executive Chris McFarland didn't take long to strike a deal with his former team in trading for Colorado forward Ross Colton. He's a center, is he not? They say forward here, but I read in the story that...
I think he was their 4th-line center.
Should we have traded for him?
No.
Okay. Just want to make sure
I like him.
I just want to make sure we're not sitting on our hands waiting for a perfect deal, and all of a sudden we're letting other guys go by the wayside because we want Larkin so bad.
No, we are not in the need of a 4th-line center. We're not even really need of bottom 6 guys. We're pretty flush with those guys.
Okay, so he's just a 4th-liner. Okay.
Yeah, he's a quality 4th-liner.
Okay.
He can skate. He can kill some penalties. He can win some face-offs. But no, at this point I would not give up assets for a 4th-line center. You need to save as many assets as you can for a bigger deal.
Tammy, this isn't breaking news. The National Basketball Association overall in North America, in the United States, is a more popular sport than the National Hockey League. The National Hockey League is a little bit more regional, right? And you can even tell just by the two stories. It says, these are both Associated Press stories. Headline, NHL says the 2026 playoffs is the most watched on record, averaging 1.8 million viewers. The NHL said Tuesday the Stanley Cup playoffs this spring were the most watched on record, average of 1.8 million viewers. That surpassed the previous record of 1.56 million in 1996 and is up 68% over last year. Any business that would achieve a 68% increase would be pretty happy, right?
Sure.
Says ESPN reported this was the most watched Cup final since 2019. Carolina beat Vegas in 6 without some of the biggest hockey markets in the country. Some of the increase across sports ratings can be attributed to a change in how Nielsen is counting viewers, but hockey is also enjoying a popularity spike, especially among women, after the Four Nations face-off and the Olympics, and in light of shows like Heated Rivalry, yet off campus, putting it in front of a different audience. So 1.8 million viewers it averaged. Then you look at the NBA. Knicks' NBA title-clinching victory over Spurs averages 24.5 million viewers. Dateline New York, Jalen Brunson and the New York Knickerbockers' 94-90 victory over the San Antonio Spurs on Saturday night. Which is your favorite Saturday night song? Saturday Night Bay City Rollers, or do you like Mr. Saturday Night Special? That's a song about a gun, actually. It's Leonard Skinner.
Is the Bay City Rollers the one that starts with the S-A-T-U-R?
Yeah, that's the one I was singing.
Night.
Saturday night. And then there's Elton John's Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Na, 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 na,
what about, it's not Saturday night, but what about Saturday in the Park? Chicago.
Saturday in the park. I think this is List Radio. We've invented our own list. What's your favorite Saturday?
This could be the next Brian Oak Rock Rank.
Yes. What's your favorite Saturday song? And then there's also...
Just favorite song about a day of the week.
Yes.
Manic Monday.
It's just another Manic.
Tuesday's Gone. Ruby Tuesday.
Tuesday Afternoon by Leonard Skinner.
Sunday Bloody Sunday by U2.
Yeah. Sundays Will Never Be the Same.
Yeah.
By Spanky and Our Gang. And I used to occasionally...
Friday I'm in Love.
I used to convince you to play Sundays Will Never Be the Same anytime, like, let's say we acquired, like we should have played with Kyler Murray. Sundays will never be the same. I can't hit that high note. You could falsetto it. Jimmy Buffett's Come Monday, it'll be all right. Ba, 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 Monday, ba, ba.
Katy Perry had one last Friday night. That's a good song.
Yeah.
No one ever sings about Wednesday or Thursday.
Well, Tuesday afternoon is ever ending. Wednesday morning paper didn't come. Thursday night, your stocking needed mending. See how they run. The Beatles covered several in one song. Several days of the week. That ain't going to get your Marconi. My mind just wanders. I can't help it. We'll break. We'll come back. When we do, it'll be 534. It's going to be, you have a tease, I'm assuming, for 534?
Yeah, could some big-name Minnesota Twins be on the move?
The Common Man.